Welcome back. In this episode, we build the bulk blast chiller, a liquid helium monster that freezes molten metals in parallel. Then we unlock cheap LuV circuits with neutronium wafers and hit UHV, the final power tier. This is star technology. Let's get into it. So since the last episode, I've been doing some upgrades of things. Let's go do a little base tour, I guess. The biggest change is that I've added that other hearth furnace that I talked about. Just finished it. I also committed to the titanium coil blocks again. So that's good to go. It's using a 4 amp energy hatch from the UV tier. I just realized I could actually upgrade that to a 16 amp. So there's really nothing special about the UV 16 amp hatch. Where is it? On here. There's so many items that come up when you type in anything like 16 amp, unfortunately. This one. So the ultimate voltage high amp transformer, some 4 amp energy hatches, some europium wire, and some neutronium plate. Obviously, that's quite a lot of neutronium, but it's nothing too fancy. So this is actually not that hard. And this ultimate voltage high amp transformer has these UHPIC chips, europium cable, yttrium barium cuprate. It's all pretty easy. I think it's one of the easiest 16 amp ones that I've had to create. At least it seems that way. Used one already, which is why I have the quest, which I'll tick off in a sec. But whoops, space is getting so big I lose track of where stuff is. It's amazing. This guy here. This is the large assembling factory, which we built quite a few episodes ago. I actually put a cleaning maintenance hatch on it. So now this assembling factory thinks it's in a clean room. So what I've managed to do is move a lot of the recipes that were clean room specific into here. And because this has the UV 16 amp hatch, we are in fact running at UEV power and UV recipes. So that is amazing. Wow, there's a lot of sloshing going on. Let's get out of here. What else have I been doing? Have upgraded our autoclave to allow it to make gravistars, because that was a requirement that we talked about last episode. So just a little minor upgrade here. Because it's two things going in at once, and I also didn't want to store a whole bunch of liquid neutronium in here, I used the ingredient buffer trick, which has worked really well. It's just a ultimate pipe upgrade in there just to get things through quickly. So essentially, I don't think I've ever talked about this. I use it in a few places, as you can see right there, and on the blast furnaces. Essentially, the pattern provider here grabs anything, tries to put it into this ingredient buffer, and then the ingredient buffer can actually store liquids. Normally stick them onto the input hatch, so it just pushes it straight down into there, and then I just use an item pipe to extract it. And yeah, that works very well. I did mention that we were going to build more fusion reactors. That hasn't happened yet. I've started to create the framework for where it's going to go. I am actually intending to build another one over here as well, and I think that will be it. I think that'll be enough for us. There'll be at least 2 fusion reactors producing neutronium, because we're going to need some more. Our stocks of neutronium aren't too bad. We've got 117 buckets. The way that it counts the buckets always confuses me. That's actually millibuckets. Another change that's happened, there was a monolith here. I got asked a question just recently about what this was about. It was actually in the way, because we started this in one of the first few episodes. My intention originally was for this to be the central hub and for it to expand out in that direction and that direction and that direction. And obviously that didn't happen. I think it was my choice of having the tree farm over here originally. I just didn't end up pushing that way. And so we expanded that way. And then I ended up building too close, and now it's just in the way. So the monolith that was there has been moved inside the base. I realized that we had a central area. Oh, actually need to still fill that in. A central area that was actually extending out all the way to the top. So this represents every episode that we've done so far, and the key material that we gained or used during that episode. There's a couple of layers that are not filled in yet because I haven't figured out what material to use. We've got things like blocks of europium, tritium coil blocks, titanium, and the fusion machine casings from the last episode. So we should probably get to the episode. That's enough waffling. This guy here, this extra rotary hearth furnace, it's not online yet, but I'm planning to have it online, and we've got some pretty advanced materials we're going to be making pretty soon. I had a quick look, and this is the UHV page, because we have actually pretty much finished the UV page. Grab those. It's just that I'll have to fill, and the chemical builder. I'll swing back to that. I'll talk about that in a moment. But the UHV page is quite busy. There's a lot going on. As far as I can tell, this is all stuff that you get when you use the Stargate, which this version of the mod pack, I don't think it actually works. This represents our endgame for this series. But this looks all pretty cool, but we can ignore all of that. We're already making big inroads, we could get this machine hull and probably the energy hatch pretty soon. Stellarium and Melodium, I think, are pretty advanced materials that we're going to need to make. I thought I'll build one of these guys to assist with that, if that's even possible. In either case, having two is better than one. The problem that we're going to have, and that I've been experiencing, you would have seen a little bit of it in the last episode, is actually cooling of the ingots. So I built this vacuum freezer here to cool for this array of electric blast furnaces because the other one I had was overworked, and that's just hiding away over here. So this is basically to service those and also any of these that need it. And then that's not even the original one I had. So if we just kind of slalom our way through here, this vacuum freezer is our original one. I expanded it to be a double vacuum freezer. When I do a big process or big run of lots of ingots, now that we have so many things for quick smelting, it actually overloads the system a lot. One thing that's probably worth building, if only to tick it off, but also because it's another multi-block, is this thing here that I teased in the last episode. And I've grabbed all the components, and it is a bulk blast chiller. It's a fun-looking multi-block. I like the ones that are sort of unique looking. So this has glass on the front. It's basically like a giant freezer, but it actually has an interior. It's different to those 3x3x3 solid blocks that we used to. So, I guess this is the exterior cooling unit, and that's where the heat vents are. It seems like there's a bug in the UI for this that, if I scroll this along here and get to the things on the end, it lags this view a lot. So I'm not going to do that. But suffice to say, these are all components we need. It's made of frost-proof aluminium machine casings, which is what the normal vacuum freezer is made of, so that's easy. Clean stainless steel casings, which I've been using them for decoration. They're that easy. Tungsten steel pipe casings, which of course we know, heat vents, tempered glass, I use that everywhere, parallel control hatch, auto maintenance hatch, and then the bulk blast chiller itself. So this is how you make a bulk blast chiller. So you got normal niobium titanium fluid pipe, ZPM circuits, we've got ZPM fuel generator. It's actually an upgrade to the vacuum freezer, so you need one of those. Dense rhodium plated palladium plate, and that's a lot of P's, isn't it? And of course that the ruthenium, trinium, americium, neutronate wire that we're familiar with. So not too hard. So I've talked about it, I might as well build it, I guess. What I'll do is actually build it in two parts. So I'll build the side thing first, and then I'll build this one. We'll do that, and then we'll get to it. Heat vents in there, pipe casings, heat vents, and clean stainless steel casings. Some more of these. And then more pipes. More heat vents. And then we just fill the thing in. Well, that's one side of it. Let's get started with the next bit. We want 5x7, and then add these guys in. Put the controller block in there. I'll put the pipes across like this. That one's wrong. Then pop these guys in. Now we need to make a structure that looks like this. So the idea is you want a 3x3 area in here. Cool. Now we want a little window here. And now basically we have to cover up all the pipes. Stop there like that. And then I think we just cover this. That. Let's go auto maintenance hatch, parallel control hatch, and now we just need some power for it. Place that in here. Okay, so I've missed some blocks. This needs to go all the way around like this. And hopefully that's done. Excellent. So I presume it just works just like a normal vacuum freezer, and that we need the helium. So we're going to need pretty much very similar things to what we've got on this. So input hatch, output hatch. Yeah, okay. Well, let's cut some holes in this and set it up. Let's cut those out. So we want an input bus for hot ingots. We want an input hatch for molten liquids. And we want an input hatch that will bring in the liquid helium. Basically, we only want two outputs. We'll want an output bus for the cooled ingots and we want an output hatch for the helium. And that's it. So we want an export bus on this one. And this one we'll configure with liquid helium. And let's accelerate that. So what I'll do is I'll put an interface on that, and then grab some upgrades. One of these, or actually two of these. Upgrade that, upgrade that. So now they have 18 slots. We want the output hatch up there. That'll have the helium that comes out and the product that we want. Let's hook this all up. Let's configure that to be 64 at a time. That should start filling up liquid helium, which it has. Now we just need to use this instead of this thing over here, I guess. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, steal that from over there. I can place it over here temporarily. It's a shame I can't rotate that. So I'm going to have to somehow configure this. I can just tag all of these, and then I can come back over here and just drag them all in. Okay, well, I mean, this seems to be working pretty quick. That's good. Just to confirm, if I search for hot ingots, we're not going to find any, are we? No. Yeah, so the big benefit of this is the fact that it can have this ultimate parallel control hatch, which reminds me, I actually went ahead and coded the recipe for the super control hatch, and I went and made one. Quest complete. So that's another thing we can tick off. Now, I might actually install that. Where, though? Okay, I know where. I have these processing all the sort of bits and pieces. This one here, what's this one processing? Stone dust. And the one below it is processing metal mixture. Both of these could be upgraded. I feel like that would be beneficial to process the stuff 4 times faster. Things like metal mixture, 864,000 of it. And what about stone dust? Oh my lord, is that 14 million? 15 million. Okay, let's do the stone dust one. If anything, just to remove the storage requirements of this thing. Super parallel control hatch. Crank this right up. There we go. So every 3 seconds, it's processing 4 stacks. And this is only a ZPM 16 amp converter, so we could actually upgrade this again. Let's do that. I've even got them in my inventory. There we go. Now this should be even faster. Yeah, so it's 1.5 seconds because it rounds it. 1.5 seconds, it's doing 4 stacks of this. That's very cool. Guess I've got to make a few more of those. Jeez, there's a racket going on over here, isn't there? Well, that is how the super control hatch works. 256 at a time. All right, what's next? Okay, let's talk about the chemical builder. I did bring that up briefly earlier. The chemical builder requires an UHV assembly line, which through our various tricks, we can make that happen. We can actually build it. It's only LuV Circuits, germanium fluid pipe, something called weapons grade naquator, which we don't have, typical liquids, including PEEK, which is kind of cool. Good to see that have a comeback. But what does the chemical builder do for us? It's another multi-block. Reminds me of some of those processing ones that we built for our ore processing downstairs. It's only got 5 pages of recipes, which is a bit concerning, but essentially we can build complicated hydrocarbons out of carbon and hydrogen directly. So it's like a way of doing a skip, and it's an Ivy recipe, so you can overclock it a lot and it will make stuff a lot quicker. So like if you need to make butadiene, propene, butene, a lot of different things. I went through every single one that is here. So there's 5 pages worth of recipes, so 15 in total. There's only one that we don't have ridiculous amounts of. So I'll just pick any one of these. Ethylene. Okay, so how much ethylene do we have? 275,000 buckets. Okay, don't need to make ethylene. Trust me, I went through them all. I won't bore you with it. The one that we don't have much of is styrene. So how much styrene do we have? 15 buckets. Oh no, that's not enough. We might have to build that process, except styrene is only used in this process here, where it makes raw styrene butadiene dust. And it is so fast, it doesn't need to be accelerated. Even though it seems like a cool thing to build, I have no use for this machine. I don't see it being useful at all. I have so much of every one of these chemicals because of our prolific refinery system we got going on here. Like I built this many episodes ago, and even though it's idle now because the oil well that it's drilling has long since dried up, it's only trickling through now compared to what it was before. We have ridiculous amounts of the actual hydrocarbons stored up. Look at this. So yeah, deuterium, ethylene, what are some of the other hydrocarbons? Butane, like 42,000 buckets. We just don't need these things in sufficient quantities, like methanol, 740,000 buckets. So the chemical builder is off the cards. Unfortunately, we don't need to build it. Unless one of these processes here requires a massive amount of one of those things and we just run out, I just don't see it being anything that we need to worry about. Anyway, what is next? Okay, before we get carried away with the Stargate shenanigans, let's look at this thing, the neutronium-doped monocrystalline silicon ball. So I talked about that briefly last episode, I think. It requires 4 ingots of neutronium, otherwise very similar to the previous tier. What I've actually done is already upgraded this. So the sign needs to be changed, but that's the naquator-doped monocrystalline silicon ball electric blast furnace there. And so what I did was I just changed the gas over to xenon and changed the stocking input bus to bring in 32 of those and 4 of those. It's just been building up this stockpile of neutronium-doped monocrystalline silicon. I'll grab one of those so that I can do the quest. And I did actually encode the recipe to make the wafer. The yield is 96. I don't think I tested this. Oh, there we go. So get one of those. That should give us 2 quests. Yep. And so now we need to do the cheapest LuV circuits. We might as well do that now. So the first thing we're going to need to make this new wafer is a black lens. And so, as is tradition, every single one of the lenses I've made has been crafted on this lathe, the advanced lathe that we built so many episodes ago. Even though I've got a more advanced one over there, I just couldn't break with tradition. So that's churning away there very loud. So I'll step back a little bit. But we're going to need to make some black dye. We've done that before. It's basically just sulfuric acid and some of these bits. How do we make liquid black dye? Some of that, salt and sulfuric acid. I got the wrong proportions. I actually need 2 salt, not 2 black dye. Okay, that's cool. Grab some salt. Oh no, we don't have enough. We've only got 1.3 million. These numbers get so ridiculous when you get to this level of technology. I remember when we were struggling to get enough salt because I was using it for electrolysis to get chlorine or something like that. Anyway, that's technology. Oh, and sulfuric acid. Oh, I'm hoping I got enough of that. Yeah, it's still got that problem. I have fixed it though. If you notice, the numbers are going down. So it's consuming it now. It's not filling up everywhere. I'll grab a bucket of that and take that to our chemical bath, I think it is. Do we still have one around here somewhere? I might have gotten rid of it. Unless it's up here. Seem to remember it being here somewhere. Oh, I guess we'll just use the big one. Okay, so in the input bus, we want the salt and the black dye. And there we want that. That's not working. What did I do wrong? Salt, black dye. Oh, it's a chemical reactor. I've got an idea. Let's go use a chemical reactor instead. That might work better. Where's a chemical reactor when you need one? Sure. Oh, there's one over here, isn't it? It's right behind me, isn't it? There it is. Put that in there, put that in there, drop that in there. There we go. It's going to suck it into the system. But I'll use my drum to just clean that up. All right. I know what I was getting confused about. This second part of it isn't a chemical bath. These glass lenses and things, you just do it once and then you don't have to touch it again. Basically, we've just done one of every color so far. So pop that in there and pop that in there. There we go. Nice and quick. So we should have our black lens. So now we need the recipe for the HASOC wafer, the highly advanced system on a chip wafer, just in a laser engraver using neutronium-doped wafer and glass lens. I just realized we could take the laser engraver out of the clean room now if we needed to, because we've got that cleaning hatch. But this has already got a place. I'm actually running out of surfaces to put these things on. We want an input bus and then a pattern provider. Into here, I need to put the black lens. So let's request one of those. Why is that not working? That is a little bit odd. So if I grab this and pop it into here manually, yeah. Oh, okay, did it very quick. Okay, that's interesting. What happened to it? It's like it's getting lost. Wait a sec. Okay, let's grab a few more. Put this into here. I'm making the wrong thing. I know what I did wrong. Distinct bus. Ah, dang it. I've just been making a lot of useless stuff. I need distinct bus. Yeah, okay. So that's the problem. So if I drop that in there, it's already running for longer. Oh, yep. There we go. That's better. Put that back. Grab that wafer. There we go. And with that, we just need a recipe to cut it, which is this one here. We won't use water. We'll do that. Over here, go to the cutter, which also has a cleaning maintenance hatch on it. Pop that into there. Craft some of those. HASOC. Oh, there we go. Grab one of those. Excellent. And then that's that quest. So let's tick all of those. So what does that give us? Well, glad you asked. This, the highly advanced system on a chip, which allows us to make the LuV circuits the cheapest we can, basically. This is actually pretty useful because currently the LuV tier circuit is actually crystal based. So this is the recipe we currently use. It has to use a crystal CPU, and we upgrade that with neuroprocessing and various things, and it turns it into this wetware processor. The new recipe doesn't involve that, so this is much more efficient. So I'm going to encode this recipe, and we should be able to make these LuV tier circuits much quicker. And the important thing about that is the last circuit we're ever going to have to upgrade. I don't think we have any more that we can do. This is it. This is what we're left with. No more process upgrades. Okay, I'm going to encode that and come back. Okay, well that took a lot less time than I thought because the only thing we didn't have was the Naquadah bolt. Let's put this into here and take this one out. All right, I should test that though. LuV circuit. So I've got to wait for this to clear before I can tell, but all the parts are there. All right, well, I guess we'll just walk away from that. I think what we should do next is get this energy hatch, and then it'll be time to tackle this. So what's involved with the UHV Energy Hatch? Research, obviously. Let's get that started. 128 units of compute. Yeah, we've got that handled. Let's pop that into there and grab a data module. Pop that in there. All right. Why is that not working? Oh, that's a data orb. Here, data module. Silly. There we go. All right. That's going to take a little while. A lot of power that's using. Look at that. 2 million EUs per tick. Maybe that's worth showing what's going on there. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's working currently. Power's fine. How much are we using? Over 100 million RF per tick. And I've seen it peak to 140 at times. But our output is matching it. All those solar panels come in handy. I've got some spares just in case if we need to expand. Which we might do once we start using the UHV stuff. So that's scanning away. How do we make one of these? This is the recipe. UHV machine hull. UHPOC, UHV, ruthenium. Yeah, we got that. And so what's a UHV machine hull look like? UHV machine casing and europium cable and liquid polybenzimidazole. UHV machine casing is just 8 neutronium plates. So we're not going to build too many of them yet because we don't have much neutronium. And then after that, there is the UHV 4 amp energy hatch, which is just an upgrade, which is tiny. So we'll do that almost straight away as well. And then UHV 16 amp energy hatch is uncraftable in my version of the game. That would break through into the next tier. The UHV 4 amp is equivalent to UEV, and then the next one will be UIV, but as you can see, that is not accessible. So even this, all this is inaccessible in my version of the game, which is the beta, because I started this playthrough a while back. If you're playing the proper version, then you obviously have access to more stuff. Yeah, so we can do that once that's scanned. And then question is, which one of these do we look at first? Maybe the void stuff would be fun, because that would let us build these Stargate rods. Raw void ingots are going to require neutronium, aren't they? It's 1-to-1, very slow. And you've got the echo fluid, which is also slow to get, I think. So yeah, neutronium is going to be our problem. So the UHV Energy Hatch is finished. So we've got the data module, and I have the 2 processing patterns that we need, the UHV Energy Hatch and the UHV 4 amp energy converter. And so let's get it set up. So that goes into the assembly line. First of all, we've got to put the data module into the data bank here. Which one's free? Neither of them. Well, that's inconvenient. I need an advanced data access hatch. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. In the meantime, we're going to figure out which one of these we can put it into. It's UHV in the assembly line. And what do we have here? That is UV. So we need to upgrade this one, because I can trick this into being UHV recipe tier by just putting 2 UV tier energy hatches in here. So let's just grab a couple of these. Advanced data access hatch is done. So I guess I'll get that installed now while I can. And then pop that in there. I've got 2 UV energy hatches. I need to get a UV 4 amp energy converter and just do a little bit of surgery here. Let's take these out. Pop these in. So that should now be UHV. Excellent. Pop down the energy converter. Should be happy. Cool. All right. So in here, I should be able to put UHV Energy Hatch, and I should be able to request one. Everything is there. Excellent. Okay, I think it's making it. As I said before, this doesn't actually give us anything better in terms of power tier. So we're still going to be stuck with the same sort of speed, but what it does allow us to do is machines that we can't put 2 of these hatches in, we can upgrade to UHV. There we go. And that is done. So if I pop that back in there and then just craft one of these, I should be able to get a 4 amp one, assuming I installed it into the right machine. I have a feeling maybe the machine it's in needs an upgrade. Let's go find out, because that seems to be taking a lot longer than I would have expected. UHV 4 amp. Okay, it's an elite assembler. I don't think that's going to cut it. Yeah, it's definitely not making it. I think it needs to be the next tier up. Yeah, it needs to be a UV assembler. So I guess it doesn't have to be in here, does it? Take these out and pop that over here. Because this guy is a UV assembler. Yeah. Oh, this has got energy hatches in it, so let's do that. And then, therefore, if I just drop these in, there we go. Okay, perfect. So now we can make UHV 4 amp energy hatches. Cool, all right. Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave this episode. This wasn't really an episode about big technological advances, even though we did get the UHV Energy Hatch, which is the last one. But what we were doing really is setting us up for the final chapter, which is beginning now, basically. So we are in the end game. There's some pretty advanced stuff that we're going to have to build. I may have to do infrastructure updates in between these episodes just to increase the number of fusion reactors we have, just to get through some more neutronium, and I'll swing back to that, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.